Hello, my name's Tommy Kolovos and I'm a senior at Governor State University. I'm also GSU's third Gilman Scholar. As part of being a Gilman Scholar, I had to conduct a follow-on project. My project pertains to how LGBT individuals can safely, while enjoying their experience, travel abroad. Today I'm going to talk to you about specific tips LGBT individuals can take to ensure their safety while still enjoying their abroad experience. Scholarships that'll help you finance your abroad journey, along with services the Office of International Services here at GSU offers. Before I actually went into research, I had to ask myself, are LGBT people really afraid to study abroad, or is this a misconception? So when I was in Rome, I stood in the gay district and I asked 22 participants from 9 different countries, are you afraid to travel abroad? Do you have any precautions? What do you think is different from your experience traveling compared to someone who's straight or cisgender? And 63% of my participants said they were not afraid whatsoever. The rest said that they were precautious but not afraid solely because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. They factored in things such as race, ethnicity, religion, and socioeconomic factors to make a full conclusion. So, as it turned out, LGBT individuals aren't afraid to travel abroad. But when I was researching this, there were no resources for LGBT individuals to actually inform themselves and give themselves the confidence to study abroad. So here I am, making a resource for LGBT individuals to use to give them a little bit more confidence to study abroad. Before I continue, it's important to talk about why it is important to study abroad. First, you get to immerse yourself in a new culture. That's such a unique and life-changing opportunity, I can't really even vocalize on it. I think every student should completely indulge in a study abroad experience just for the culture. You also get to learn a new language. Even if it's little bits and pieces, you get to test out your language skills, maybe that elementary Spanish class you took freshman year or the French you took in high school, and it's cool to just see how much you remember and how much you can teach yourself in a short amount of time. You're also more competitive in the job market and in graduate admissions because of your study abroad experience. Also, while you're abroad, your personal development skyrockets. You'll find a newfound confidence, self-esteem, leadership abilities, and so many more skills and traits that you'll learn along the way. Another thing to mention is, of course, you'll travel the world and see landmarks that you thought you'd only see on Google Images or Tumblr. And then the last thing to note is studying abroad enhances your education. We've all taken general education courses pertaining to anthropology, world history, and sociology, but to actually see these things in real life is just amazing. Studying abroad is expensive, but there are ways to pay for it besides out of your pocket. GSU offers a study abroad scholarship, which includes a 500 to 1,000 word statement on challenges you think you'll face while studying abroad, how you're going to give back to the community with this experience, and why you want to study abroad. When I went to Rome, about 80% of the people I went with had the scholarship. It comes with the program application, so it's easy to grab. Another one is the Benjamin A. Gilman International Scholarship Program, which I was a recipient of. With that one, it goes with the same thing. You write a paper, you do a project, and you get back to the community. The last one is the Critical Language Scholarship. This one, they will pay for part of your study abroad as long as you agree to learn a language that's in critical condition, such as Swahili, Hindi, or Korean. The Office of International Services is in the GMT building, which is across campus. They have so many resources on study abroad experience, just that, let alone everything else they have. They've got resources on their website on scholarships I just mentioned, safety tips, future GSU study abroad programs, and much more. Our study abroad coordinator is Amy Schaumburg. Her email is right there on the screen. We also have a study abroad fair September 12th. These are just a few pictures of my experience in Rome. A picture's worth 1,000 words, but I could talk on and on about all the amazing things I saw and tasted and smelt just in Rome, let alone Florence, Venice, and Paris. Having this opportunity and experience fueled me to want to empower others, especially in the LGBT community, to travel abroad, and I guess that's why I'm doing this video. So, here are a few things I learned while studying abroad as an LGBT individual. First things first, know the LGBT laws and rights. This sounds fairly common, but not that many people read about the laws in the actual destination they're going to. You are not subjected to US law when you're in Italy or France or Paris or wherever. You're subjected to that country's law. So in some countries, homosexuality is criminalized and wrong displays of gender identity can be punishable. These are fines, death sentences, even just cruel, unusual punishment. That's why it's very important to know the law so that way you don't get yourself in these predicaments. Even in countries where homosexuality isn't criminalized, we might not have certain rights such as marriage or anti-discrimination, and knowing what laws they have can help you measure out exactly how gay-friendly the country is, along with how you're going to market yourself as an LGBT person in that country. An excellent resource I found was the Gay Travel Index. You can find this on Google Images by just typing in Spartacus Gay Travel Index. It tells you how friendly the country is, what rights they have, and then even prosecution, murder, and death sentences that country has faced in the year alone. This is extremely vital in understanding, again, how to market yourself in that country. Another thing is know gender norms. Gender norms are not universal. In America, men are very masculine. They're very casual. They're very laid back. That's how men are taught in America. In Europe, not so much. What may be considered feminine in America for a man to act is very normal in Europe. Here's a picture of just regular European male fashion. If we saw a man dressed like that in America, we might think he was metrosexual or whatnot. Robin Gorka, a UC Berkeley student, actually wrote an article about this experience, and the title is right there, 9 Major Lessons I Learned Studying Abroad as an LGBT Individual. She talked about how she was a far cry from being spotted as a lesbian and American, but in France, it was a dead giveaway because of gender norms. So knowing this, how the gender norms are in your destination, will allow you to see, again, how you can market yourself to best fit in, and if you want to be out as an individual in that country. A third thing to note is to know local LGBT culture. Just like norms aren't universal, LGBT culture isn't universal. The people in Rome will not understand your RuPaul Drag Race references or Troye Sivan. They don't know that. That's not their culture. It's important to know the specific references in that culture because it'll help you understand how to move around with the LGBT community in that culture, along with being invited to events, and it'll just enhance your experience as an LGBT individual in that community. The fourth tip, which a lot of study abroad students don't take advantage of, is engage with the local LGBT community. First of all, you could do a cross-cultural analysis of how your culture is back in America compared to how their culture is in Europe or Africa or Asia or wherever you go, which is cool to see. Another thing is you can find your study abroad family in a sense. So the LGBT community is one big family in a way, and it's just cool to meet people across the globe that are part of that community that could be a source of family when you're far away from your own. Just being around the LGBT community in a foreign environment will make you feel a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more less lonely and less scared. And then lastly, have some fun. There's a lot of events around your community with Pride and a bunch of events like that, karaoke, dance nights. Just look into it. Know who to contact for assistance. So you might run into some difficulties while abroad, and that's normal, but you should know who to contact when things get too difficult. Your study abroad coordinator is a great source. Usually they're still back in the States, but they can give you information on who to contact, what to do, and how to manage yourself. Your host school or your host family might be a better bet because they're more familiar with how to operate in the country you are in. Another thing is professors. They know how to operate in that country too. Lastly, if it's more of an intimate issue that you don't want to talk about, you could always talk to your peers. They're a little bit more understanding with that stuff, and maybe they'll give you the confidence to go to a professor or your host school or your study abroad coordinator. And lastly, and I hope no one ever has to contact the U.S. Embassy, but the U.S. Embassy does help in cases where you're imprisoned, hurt, a victim of terrorist attacks, and situations like that. What's vital with this, though, is to write down everyone's contact information and have it on you at all times, so that way you have it when you need it. Reflect on why you're hesitant or fearful. It's crazy to think about going to another country and living there for 3 weeks, maybe even a whole semester. But just ask yourself, why am I hesitant? What am I afraid of? And just debunk it little by little. Everyone is nervous to study abroad. Specifically, ask yourself why. Discuss these hesitations with your study abroad coordinator, your family and friends, and then most importantly, conduct research. Read articles. Even though there's a limited amount, a lot of it will make you feel a lot more confident about going on this opportunity of a lifetime. And then my personal favorite was looking at blogs from other LGBT travelers. Who's going to know this experience better than someone who's actually lived it? I wrote down a few of my favorite ones at the bottom. This Colorful Worlds, The Gay Traveler, and My Normal Gay Life are all amazing, but I encourage you to find your own favorite gay travel blog. This one is extremely important. Take good risks. You need to know the difference between a good risk and a bad risk. It could be vital to your safety. And safety is priority when you're abroad. That is number one. So bad risks have consequences, and we know this, but it could get you injured, imprisoned, and even expelled from your school back home, and you don't want that. Good risks can enhance your experience overall. It'll make you more confident, increase your personal development, and give you stories to tell others, which is always a fun part of studying abroad. This doesn't get talked about often when we talk about LGBT travel, but consider your sexual health. I recommend getting HIV tested before you depart, just so you know your status and know if you need to bring any medication with you while you're abroad. Another thing is to bring products from home. We're talking about, sexual health products, hygiene products. They might not have these products in the country that you're staying in, so it's better to have them and not need them than need them and not have them. Another thing is to pack enough PrEP and HRT medication for the duration of your trip. Even a little bit extra just to make sure that you're safe and good in case your flights get delayed or you get stuck in a country. Another thing is take good risks. Do not engage in risky behavior with locals. Think smart. Lastly, and the most important tip I could say, is reflect on your experience. You just survived the experience of a lifetime, getting lost in Rome, trying to figure out transportation, seeing beautiful pieces of art and landmarks, eating probably the best food you've ever had in your life. Reflect on it. Ask yourself, what was it like to be an LGBT individual in a different culture? Was it scary? Did you feel uncomfortable? Did you feel at home even, compared to what you deal with in the States? And then ask yourself, and this is the most important thing with study abroad, how can I use this experience to better myself? But I think personally the most important thing about studying abroad is empowering others. Use your experience to be an LGBT advocate for study abroad. Create blogs, make articles, create videos, create resources for other LGBT people to see, to empower them to go and travel.